In Course 1, we use the QuickLooks website to analyze data. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use another tool called Hive, which you may find useful to use in conjunction with the QuickLooks website. Hive allows you to look at individual student data as well as data broken down by socioeconomic status. You can access the Hive website in one of two ways, either by returning to the QuickLooks homepage and clicking on the Hive logo in the upper right-hand corner, or by typing the web address hive.arkansas.gov, note that there is no www, directly into your web browser. Hive is an online community that has been developed as a result of a collaboration between the Arkansas Department of Education and Inspire Learning to allow users to access standardized test results over time and to compare this data between demographic groups. This is what the Hive homepage looks like. To begin, you'll first need to click the Register link to set up an account. This will enable you to save anything you create, as well as respond to things others have posted. Also, if you have been granted authorization by your district administrator, you will be able to hover your mouse over points on the scatter plots to view the individual student names that the points represent. Once you have registered with the Hive site, make sure that you are logged in. Next, click on the Create button located in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage. Clicking the Create button will take you to this page where you can view examples of all of the visualizations available in Hive. The following slides will present samples of these visualizations, along with brief explanations of the types of analyses they support. Clicking on the sample visualization or its title will load that visualization with sample data. From the sample, you will be able to modify the chart to view data that is relevant to you. Clicking on the Help button at the top of the page will also provide you with information about the different visualizations and how to modify them. The first example we're going to look at is a scatter plot. Scroll down and click on the sample scatter plot. Keep in mind that the Create button is always in the upper right-hand corner of the page, and clicking on it will always return you to this page where you have the option to select a different visualization. A scatter plot takes two related values and plots them as a single point. Here, the 2007 Grade 3 literacy scores are along the x-axis, and the same student's 2008 Grade 4 literacy scores are on the y-axis. You have to remember when making a scatter plot that you have to have two different scores for the same student. If you've been authorized in Hive, hovering your mouse over scores will allow you to see the individual student names those scores represent. Note that I do not have authorization, so the name appears anon. I'm now going to use the scatter plot to explain the different ways you can manipulate the data. Note that these techniques are not unique to the scatter plot. They can be applied to any of the Hive visualizations. Once you have a visualization pulled up, you can modify the data that appears by clicking on the Edit button on the Settings box in the upper right-hand corner. Once you click Edit, you will notice that the Settings box has expanded to provide options for changing the visualization. In the first section, you can change the school district as well as the specific information that appears on each axis. In the sections below, you have the option of selecting and/or brushing data points to aid in your analysis. Use the Select feature to choose which data you'd like to look at. Only data for those traits selected will be shown on the graph. In this example, white, not of Hispanic origin, has been selected for ethnicity, and male has been selected for gender, so only data for students matching these criteria, white, non-Hispanic males, are showing. In addition to selecting, you can use the brush feature to differentiate the selected data. In this example, we have brushed for economic disadvantage, which paints those students with economic disadvantage in yellow, so you can quickly compare them to the no economic disadvantage scores still in blue. Once you make a visualization that you believe to be significant, you're going to want to save and post it for others to view and comment, as the whole purpose of Hive is to create visualizations to share with others. While you may believe you found something significant, others can provide context you may have missed. By saving and posting your visualization, Hive allows you and your colleagues to have some of these discussions online. While you have the setting box in edit mode, click on the Save as New button in the bottom right-hand corner. Once you click on Save as New, a pop-up box appears where you can add a title and a description for your visualization. It is important to give your visualization a descriptive title and detailed explanation, as this will ensure that your visualizations are retrieved when you or your colleagues use Hive's search function. Click Post to finish. The next type of visualization we're going to look at is the scatter bar. To pull up the scatter bar graph, return to the Create page and select the sample scatter bar graph. With a scatter bar, we are looking at individual student scores again, but only for a single grade and subject. You can see the number of students in your school that scored at any particular level by looking at the number of dots at that level. We've created this chart by ethnicity as a way to look at how the different groups perform. Note the proficiency levels off to the right side of the graph. You'll find these useful to get a quick estimate of how many students are scoring at the advanced, proficient, basic, and below basic levels. Another neat feature available in Hive is the zoom function. To zoom in on a particular area of a graph, simply use your mouse to click and select a box encompassing the area you want to zoom in on. Once you release your mouse click, the graph will resize accordingly. If you want to go back to the original view, simply click the Restore Zoom button in the upper right-hand corner. Moving on from individual student scores, we're now going to look at a box plot visualization, which compares district and state scores for a single test. Return to the Create homepage and select Sample Bar Chart with Box Plots. First, I used the Edit box to change the graph to show us the 2009 8th grade math scale scores for the Little Rock School District, and selected to view a breakdown by ethnicity, selecting African American, Asian or Pacific Islander, Hispanic, and white. The district scores are represented by the bars, and the state distribution of scores for each population is represented by a box plot, also known as a box and whiskers plot. The box plot shows the distribution of state scores. The line in the middle of the box is the median for state scores. The box represents the inner quartile range, and the whiskers are 1.5 below and above the inner quartile range. In other words, the distance from the bottom whisker to the bottom of the box represent the students in the 0 to 25th percentile. The distance from the bottom of the box to the line in the middle of the box represents the students in the 25th to 50th percentile. The distance from the line in the middle of the box to the top of the box represents students in the 50th to 75th percentile. And the distance from the top of the box to the upper whisker represents those students in the 75th to 100th percentile. The final visualization we're going to look at is a bubble chart. If you're in a large district, it's very helpful to make a bubble chart to compare your schools. Most districts in Arkansas have only one school for each grade range, so those schools will need to instead choose all districts at the top and then choose other districts to compare themselves to. You can brush each school to give it a different color. This visualization is a comparison of districts in the Dawson Co-op. I've decided to compare growth and scale scores, but you could just as easily compare, say, literacy and math scores together.